10 shocking history facts you won't forget.
Wojtek the Bear. In World War II, one of the most famous soldiers was a bear. His name was Wojtek, adopted by the Polish army. He carried crates of ammo during battle, drank beer with the troops, smoked cigarettes, and even got promoted to corporal. This wasn't a mascot. This was an enlisted bear with a rank, a salary, and a service record. And honestly, he probably did a better job than half the officers.
Hitler's nephew. Here's one for the family drama files. Adolf Hitler had a nephew who fought for the Allies. His name was William Patrick Hitler, and he moved to the United States during the war. Instead of siding with Uncle Adolf, he enlisted in the U.S. Navy and fought against him. Imagine Thanksgiving dinner in that family. So what do you do, William? Oh, you know, just fighting to destroy your empire.
Napoleon's height. Napoleon Bonaparte, known as the tiny general who tried to take over Europe, right? Wrong. He was about 5 feet 6 to 5 feet 7, which was average for men in the 1800s. The myth of him being short came from British propaganda and a mix-up between French and English measurements. So Napoleon wasn't small, just incredibly good at marketing his temper as a personality trait. Viking helmets. When you picture Vikings, you probably see giant warriors with horned helmets. Yeah, they never wore those. That look actually comes from 19th century opera costumes, not archaeology. Real Viking helmets were simple, practical, and horn-free. So if you've got a Viking costume with horns, congratulations. You're basically cosplaying as a 1800s theater nerd.
Andrew Jackson's parrot. When President Andrew Jackson died in 1845, they held a big funeral. And like many grieving families, they brought his pet parrot to the service. Problem was, the bird had picked up a little too much of Jackson's colorful vocabulary. Halfway through the ceremony, the parrot started swearing so loudly and so offensively that it had to be removed. Nothing like being cursed out by a parrot at a president's funeral to lighten the mood. Drinking gold. Some medieval kings thought drinking dissolved gold would make them healthier. Yes, actual liquid gold mixed into wine or medicine straight down the hatch. Spoiler alert, it didn't cure anything. If anything, it poisoned them faster. But hey, if you're going to die young, at least make sure your insides look like a jewelry store.
Napoleon versus bunnies. Napoleon didn't just lose battles to Russia, he once lost to rabbits. He organized a rabbit hunt for his officers. Hundreds of rabbits were brought in. But instead of running away, the rabbits charged straight at Napoleon and his men. Turns out the supplier had raised tame farm rabbits who thought the soldiers were bringing food. So yes, the mighty Napoleon Bonaparte was literally overrun by bunnies. That's not propaganda, that's just embarrassing. Pope versus cats. In 1233, Pope Gregory IX decided cats, especially black cats, were agents of Satan. He issued a papal bull condemning them, which led to mass killings of cats across Europe. The result? The rat population exploded. And what came with rats? The plague. So you could argue that one man's war on cats helped trigger one of history's deadliest pandemics. Nice work, Your Holiness. Cleopatra's origin. Cleopatra, the last queen of Egypt, is often remembered as one of history's greatest Egyptians, except she wasn't Egyptian at all. She was part of the Ptolemaic dynasty. Greek rulers descended from one of Alexander the Great's generals. She ruled Egypt, but her bloodline was pure Macedonian Greek, so that dramatic Egyptian queen image? More like a Greek student running the exchange program of a lifetime.
Shortest war. The shortest war in history lasted just 38 minutes. It happened in 1896 between Britain and Zanzibar. Britain showed up with a full navy, Zanzibar fired a few shots, and then immediately surrendered. By the time most people had finished their morning tea, the war was over. Imagine telling your grandchildren you fought in a war that lasted less than an episode of your favorite Netflix show. And that's 10 shocking history facts you'll never forget. Subscribe to The History Desk, where history is ridiculous, fascinating, and somehow still more believable than the stuff happening today.